So something you may have heard about recently is word from the White House is they're considering backing plans to do 50-year mortgages as a way to help people with the housing and affordability crisis. The idea being that you can lower monthly payments if you're stretching out the length, the term of the loan. So for instance, on a $415,000 house, if you're paying 6.17%, the average interest rate right now, a 30-year mortgage would cost $2,288 a month. A 50-year mortgage would drop that down to $2,022 a month. So about $250 less. That sounds helpful, but there's a huge trade-off involved because over the life of the loan, a borrower would actually pay nearly $400,000 more in interest on a 50-year mortgage versus the 30-year mortgage. And also equity would build really, really slowly. It would take you 30 years to gain $100,000 in equity on a 50-year mortgage versus about 12 years on a 30-year mortgage. So another thing that, people are pointing out is this doesn't really fix the real problem, which is housing supply. Construction costs are rising, tariffs on building materials are still in place, and labor shortages still exist. So even if those monthly payments go down, prices could still keep climbing. And then there's just a practical issue that for the average home buyer, their average age is now 40 years old, believe it or not. So a 50-year mortgage at that age means you're going to be paying on it until you're 90 years old. That's well beyond the average U.S. life expectancy, which is right about 79 right now. And then plus under current law, Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac, they can't insure mortgages that are longer than 30 years. So Congress would need to completely change their financial regulations, which doesn't seem likely right now. Then for a little history on the 30-year fixed mortgage, it's a uniquely American product. It started during the New Deal in the 1930s, and basically it was a way to standardize loans to ensure that families could afford and pay off those loans during their working years. And back then, the average lifespan was 66 years. So for a 30-year term, for a 30-year mortgage for someone who's going to live to be 66, that makes sense. And especially it replaced, at the time, really risky short-term interest-only loans with huge balloon payments. Government backing through the FHA and later Fannie Mae ended up making lenders more comfortable doing longer terms, and it was good policy that came out at the time. And that's why those 30-year mortgages became the default for home ownership here in the U.S. So the bottom line here is a 50-year mortgage, it might lower your monthly payment, but it comes with huge costs on the back end, and it doesn't really solve the root issues that we're facing today, and that is supply and affordability.